Over the past couple of years, the most dangerous movement that I've seen emerge is the woke right. The movement headed by Candace Owens that essentially pushes false narratives and reshapes history to fit that narrative. Among them is Tucker Carlson. And in this video, I'm going to show you why Tucker Carlson is no better than Candace Owens and has joined the ranks of the anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists throughout history. First, let's start off with a clip of him talking about Winston Churchill and him fighting the Nazis, how defeating the Nazis was really not an accomplishment. Check out what he says about the great Winston Churchill.
So I'm very distressed about it. So people want to tell me Churchill's an incredible guy. Really? Well, why didn't he save Western civilization? He didn't even save Poland.
He did.
What did he
He did save Western civilization.
How?
He defeated the Nazis.
But I know he helped defeat the Nazis,
Well, the Nazis
with his friend Stalin.
The Nazis wanted the whole world to be speaking
I'm
German.
not defending the Nazis. I'm just saying, where is Western civilization? What did he preserve? Where is it? I don't know where it is.
Churchill died the year before I was born. Oh, the same year, actually.
He died in 63, I think.
65.
65.
I think about a month before I was born. It was a natural succession. But the
but the question is, like, where's the victory? I don't understand. Like, everyone wants to yell at you for not loving Churchill. Okay,
well, hang on,
show me the victory.
Well, yeah, but
no, it's a theoretical victory.
Well, I'll tell you what the victory is. The victory is that right now we're not speaking German, and Germany hasn't totally taken over the world at this point, as well as the non-destruction of about all the minorities in the world. If Hitler had his way, he would have gotten rid of every single minority that he deemed not fit in terms of his crazed obsession with the Aryan race, and a lot of us would be gone. And Winston Churchill defeating the Nazis was obviously an incredible accomplishment, or at least helping to defeat the Nazis, as Tucker put it. Furthermore, he called out Ben Shapiro, saying that innocent civilians dying in war is automatically bad. There is no justification for it. When in reality, anyone that studies warfare understands that, yes, war is terrible, but sometimes it is necessary in order to preserve and avoid even further death and destruction. Check out what he says. He's actually referring to Hiroshima and Nagasaki here, but in reality, he could be referring to any war.
If you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You know, maybe you can make the
I agree
case,
with that.
Maybe you make the case that we had to do it or whatever, but you should.
I agree.
You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's really threatening to.
Is it evil, though?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever, but
is it evil
to kill civilians on purpose? Yeah, it is. I think it is.
Really?
Kids and children. Well, how is it not actually?
In a war?
Well, you can call it whatever you want. How is it right to kill women and children?
I didn't say, well, because I think there is a moral right behind you if you are literally
to kill women and children.
If there's a world war that threatens it threatens the entire world. Yes.
Some people killed your kids, like your 8-year-old. Like,
well,
how
your
is
own
that
children
morally justifiable?
Well, because actually you have to. Well, by your criteria,
it's disgusting.
Okay, it's so no war is morally justified.
I mean, I think it's pretty hard to justify. I mean, yeah, I'm
Any
sure.
war.
A pure defensive action, sure. But all I'm saying, look, it's all ugly. It's all hard to stomach. I've actually seen some of it up close. Super ugly.
You can say that. You can say you hate it.
May I finish?
The fact you quibble with it being morally justified.
To intentionally kill non-combatants, women and children, I think we can say that's wrong. In fact, I thought that was the thing we were fighting against.
All right, so again, he's not talking about Israel. Many on Twitter believed him to be talking about it because someone cut this clip out of context. However, the idea that every war is unjustifiable or that fighting a genocidal threat in the Nazis is not justifiable just because you're going to kill innocent civilians in the process is obviously misguided and honestly, I think, directly in correlation with what the woke right believes. They push this narrative that in general, anytime you fight a war, basically there's a problem. And sometimes when the other side is trying to kill you, it is 100% morally justifiable to fight back. And that doesn't just mean you're going to be defensive. It means that you're going to be proactive and offensive. So the idea that only defensive actions in war are, justifiable is insane. You'll end up losing the war and only your civilians will be killed. You have a duty to defend your civilians first and then worry about the other side. But again, you can be proactive. You can be offensive in war. He then went on to discuss Israel being an ally, and supposedly he doesn't even know what an ally means. This is him either being or playing ignorant, or he's just actually dumb.
Supporting Israel because it's an ally.
I don't even know what those words mean. I'm just saying my principle
they're
is
an ally, right? I mean, they
I
both
don't know what that means to be an ally. I mean, we have no...
It means that when Israel wants to attack in Gaza and attack Hamas, America will help.
There have certainly been times where we have benefited from our alliance with Israel. You know, it's an alliance, just like we have an alliance with...
They are
your
allies,
country.
then.
I don't know what ally means.
It's short for alliance.
Yeah, you're right, it is.
Yes!
It's so funny, I never knew that.
Got you!
Wow. Yeah, that is really stupid. That it's just, I mean, anyone that doesn't know that, either he's playing dumb, which I think he is, or he is actually that stupid, because the idea that he doesn't know that alliance is short for, or ally is short for alliance, is crazy. And, you know, I don't think that he didn't know that, but if he didn't know that, then maybe he shouldn't be talking about anything else with regard to war, because I think that ally is a pretty crucial element to wars and geopolitics. And then finally, obviously, this is a conspiracy theory clip recently that he posted regarding Israel and JFK.
Final question. Thank you for taking this time. Since you've been working on this for so long, and you did come out of, you know, the most prominent of the mainstream media, the Washington Post, have you been slandered as a nutcase conspiracy theorist? I always wondered, like, what do they do with you exactly? Because you're not coming from the fringes, you're coming from the middle of the establishment.
I mean, you know,
have you been attacked?
Yeah, I mean, the problem that they have is that I don't have a conspiracy theory, so the label of conspiracy theorist just doesn't apply. And the other thing is, you know, nobody can deny the stuff that I'm talking about. Let me mention another JFK document that's very important and I think will interest you. One of the things that's withheld and is in the JFK collection right now is the testimony of James Angleton in 1975 to the Church Committee about the Israeli nuclear program. This is a 113-page document, and it's heavily redacted to this day. And the redactions clearly pertain to Israel. Now, is this an assassination-related document? Absolutely. The Assassination Records Review Board said this is an assassination-related document. It meets the statutory definition. Okay? If the president and this effort are serious, that testimony will be declassified because Angleton controlled the Oswald file on the one hand, and he was a contact with the Israelis on the other. So it belongs in the public record. That's another test of, is this serious effort?
So let me ask you, why in the world would the Dimona project, the Israeli nuclear program, which has never officially been admitted by anybody but Israel, what would that conceivably have to do with the assassination of JFK?
Well, it relates to what Angleton was doing in 1963, okay? There were profound conflicts between Israel and the Kennedy White House over the nuclear program. Kennedy was pressing for on-site inspections, which the Israelis resisted because on-site inspections would have realized that they had a bomb-making program. So this was a real bone of contention between the Israeli government and the Kennedy administration in the summer of 1963, at a time when Angleton controlled the Oswald file. So just the juxtaposition of those facts means that everything about it should be on the public record.
And Angleton, who was the counter intel chief at CIA,
yeah,
James Jesus Angleton, he... That's quite amazing. Did he support, do you know his view of the Israeli nuclear program?
I mean, it's very hard to tell sometimes from this testimony, given all the redactions. But yeah, that's, was he secretly supporting Israel against JFK? That's one of the questions that needs to be answered by full disclosure.
So why would he be asked about that in a congressional hearing? That's quite amazing.
Well, because in 1975, the CIA had been revealed to be running assassination programs, to be running a mind control program, to be spying on the anti-war movement, spying on Americans. So, he was hauled before, and Congress, who was completely in the dark, had been duped or wanted to be duped. Suddenly their eyes woke up and they had to explain to their constituents, hey, what have these guys been doing in our name? And so Angleton was called in, and this was all, executive session testimony. So he was grilled about lots of things, about domestic spying, about the Israeli nuclear program, about the JFK assassination. Interestingly enough, he was not questioned about Oswald because even the Church Committee did not know the extent of the pre-assassination surveillance of Oswald. That's only something we've learned since the 1990s.
It is interesting. I mean, I have no idea what the truth is, of course, but it is interesting that one of the only major policy changes that Lyndon Johnson made in the year after the president's murder was, on the Israeli nuclear program, which he accepted.
Basically, he dropped the demand for on-site inspections. He dropped the demand that AIPAC be classified as a domestic lobby. And, there was really no accountability after that. And the story only emerged, 10 years later when the Church Committee started pressing Angleton for some explanations.
So I had no idea until you just told me that was actually a feature of those hearings. And so, of course, I mean, the American public has an absolute right to know what's in that exchange 50 years later.
And this is a tough call for the president, because he's going to get very strong pushback from his national security apparatus, supported by the CIA, supported by Israeli interests, to say, no, you can't talk about that. That's not permitted. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's frustrating as an American citizen. I don't have any kind of real agenda here other than it's, my country. I'm a shareholder in America, as are you. And right. I think we have an absolute moral right and a legal right to know this 50 years later.
Just shocking. And the idea that he doesn't know that his guest is going to say this is insane, because he invites these guests specifically to talk about Israel and to talk about these types of topics. Now, do I think that he really believes what he's saying? Probably not. He's probably getting paid by Qatar or some other Arab country to spew this anti-Israel hatred and propaganda. For one thing, I believe $15 million was invested in his company, Tucker Carlson Network, by actually a Muslim. So he probably has another agenda here. Again, the woke right pushes false narratives and obviously false information and rewrites history. And what is Tucker Carlson doing? All three of those things consistently, and every single interview pretty much involves Israel or the Jews. Someone is behind it. Someone is pulling the strings. Someone is making the president do X, Y, or Z. When in reality, it probably is nobody, and it's definitely not Israel controlling America. If anything, it's the other way around. For more, subscribe to our channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. Put that up on the screen. That's buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. We spend hours going through this footage, making sure that everything is 100% accurate and not total lies, like that video on Twitter was labeled as Israel when it really was not. For more, again, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help us, go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. Thank you, and have a good one.